Hey guys, I'm starting the new year playing a few Christmas gifts just for myself. I discovered while recording this I have a mild cold that's affecting my voice, but I thought it'd be fun to make this quick little video. Miles and Schnick got me started on a website called Letterboxd where you can review movies, and we all kept running lists of the films we saw last year. I saw 51 new releases, so here's the top 10 worst movies that I saw in 2025. And we're going to start with two dishonorable mentions that probably would have made the list if I'd ever gotten around to watching them. Dishonorable mention 1, After the Hunt. This is a drama about a prestigious school that's caught in a scandal when a female minority student reports being assaulted by a seemingly upstanding white professor. And if you think you know where that story's going, you are dead wrong! Apparently the film's message is that millennials just need to shut the hell up about consent, assault, grooming, harassment, abuse, and that all the adults in the room should just ignore the whining until any scandal blows over. Yes, that is disgusting, and somehow it gets even worse. The film's original script ended by definitively taking the victim's side and spelling out that abuse has always been wrong, even if older generations didn't recognize it. But director Luca Guadagnino wanted to scream at kids to get off his lawn, so he picked up this script and personally vetoed the good ending. Dude made a movie that's pro-groomers. Please tell me that he's on a government watch list. Dishonorable mention number 2, Smurfs. Dude, I need to see the new Smurfs movie. What looked like a simple vanity project for Rihanna turned out to be the motherlode of out-of-touch executives trying to manufacture trendiness by writing every bandwagon in existence. I've heard that this thing combines scenes and plots from Spider-Verse and Avengers Infinity War, using the Smurfs with a cacophony of pure cringe layered on top into what sounds like a hilariously terrible movie. I just haven't watched Smurfs yet because, frankly, I'm not paying money for this. And now on to my actual top 10 worst of 2025, consisting of movies that I actually did see. Number 10, Avatar: Fire and Ash. The first Avatar was a passable movie, the second was a dull rehash, and now the third one's a dull rehash of the dull rehash. The film is just a mass of barely connected subplots, dropping out and going nowhere as the film spins its wheels for over 2 hours. There's no story until the humans say, "We're going to poach this herd of space whales." At which point I turned to Miles and I shouted, "That was the plot of the last film!" The movie then full-ass repeats the climax of the second movie with just a little of the first movie's ending remixed into it, selling you back the same movie over again. I'm glad that James Cameron cares about the environment and recycling, but the man's recycling entire movies. The only things worth talking about are the things Cameron seemingly did by accident, like how lead character Jake Sully is a terrible father, or how the greatest threat to this paradise planet is atheism, and the Na'vi are horrifically ineffectual morons that refuse to fight the openly genocidal humans because this entire movie's a filler arc that was written as part 3 out of 5. And now Cameron is bored with Avatar and openly begging to go back to Terminator. He wants to recap the 2 unfinished movies with a press conference. You can't make this stuff up. That's brilliant. Why didn't the Divergent movies think of that? The much-touted Ash people barely factor into the movie and pretty much only exist to give us a half-naked blue dominatrix lady. Because yes, these films are that desperate for something that's halfway memorable. Number 9, Him. Him is a frustrating watch because there are parts of it that brim with potential. The film is almost a social satire presenting America's obsession with football as one of the more culty religions, likening displays of merchandise to altars of worship and events like draft day or game day as rituals, indoctrinating children with dreams of wanting to become the messianic role of the number 1 player, and the film itself touches on the tribulations of athletes, the immense stress to get on top and stay on top, keenly aware of the ticking clock that's attached to their success. The problem is that Him isn't a drama or a satire, it's a horror movie. And its idea of horror is to just have weird stuff happen with no explanation while our ineffectual lead just kind of wanders around. It feels like a movie made on drugs that requires inebriation to make any sense. And then the ending tries to make the religious cult metaphor into an actual thing, and it's just rock stupid. They had the ingredients to make a great film, and they carried them to the exact wrong conclusion. All you're really left with is a powerhouse performance by, of all people, Marlon Wayans. How is this the man who made 50 Shades of Black? Number 8, Until Dawn. Until Dawn is a movie where I kick myself for not spotting the problem from the trailers. The premise is a group of young adults is trapped in a haunted campground and they have to survive until dawn. If they die, the night repeats, but the exact threat that's hunting them changes every night. So pop quiz. Who sees the problem? Because it's a new threat every night beholden to zero sense of consistency or rules, the entire film feels like it's being made up on the fly. One night it's killer clowns after them, the next it's water that makes you explode. You can't get attached or invested into anything, and they tie it all together at the end by just ripping off Silent Hill. But nothing compares to how the film sets up that the heroes have 13 nights to escape, and then it jumps from night 4 to night 13 with zero transition. One of the lead actors is suddenly missing, and then our heroes watch back all the trailer footage on a camera phone. They literally stop the movie to watch deleted scenes. Oh, and the missing character supposedly has psychic powers that never come into play. This movie has to have had gallons of heavy reshoots, but it went so far under the public eye that nobody's going to dig into what happened. The only thing to recommend past the gore and the one funny death sequence is that I found it kind of charming that the lead's arc involves her realizing that she's stupid. As though wandering into a haunted cabin in the middle of the abandoned woods looking for someone who's obviously dead was too big a cliche not to lampshade. I really hope this doesn't derail Odessa Ozzian's career. She was brilliant in the new Hellraiser, and I really want her to make it. Number 7, a Minecraft movie. There were 3 god-awful video game movies this year. It better be out of your system for Street Fighter, Mario Galaxy, and Mortal Kombat 2. A Minecraft movie starts with an exposition dump the likes you barely ever see, setting up a fantasy world without actually explaining how anything works. It takes a quick detour to the real world for some alleged comedy of har, look how everybody today is broke and miserable, and then it becomes every stock adventure movie ever made. Jack Black shouts nonstop exposition to keep a breakneck pace going so that nothing ever breathes or develops because this was aimed squarely at sugar-high children with no attention span. This movie is lazy. It doesn't want to be a real movie. The leads are a budding inventor who needs encouragement to explore his gift, a girl being asked to grow up too fast, a has-been gamer with no life skills, and a woman with no idea what to do with her life. All sent to a video game world of no consequences where you can do anything. Any idiot could have written a good script from that setup. Instead, none of the characters have arcs and the female leads are dropped like a stone. Minecraft is a game about invention and creation, and the climax is just build lots of swords to fight over a skybeam. They had zero ambition past throwing some Minecraft visuals at a stock adventure template, and they cast 2 pop culture icons to carry the whole thing. And Jack Black and Jason Momoa are a lot of fun. It's not enough to overcome how dumb, stock, and cynical this movie is. And the chicken jockey fiasco is ever more proof that TikTok is a blight upon this world.
Chicken jockey!
Chicken jockey! Chicken jockey! Chicken jockey!
Number 6, Deep Cover. This was probably the most forgettable movie that I saw this year. Deep Cover is an Amazon film about a trio of improv comics who are hired by a cop to act like they're drug dealers to infiltrate a crime ring. Okay, if these are supposed to be comedians, why did you cast Bryce Dallas Howard and Orlando Bloom as the leads? 2 actors with zero comedy background. This is a movie where pretty much everyone except Orlando Bloom is on autopilot. The script is trite and cliche with mountains of implausibilities dropping from the sky to get our leads out of one predicament after another by sheer convenience. And it's just super dull. The one actual comedian in the cast, Nick Mohammed, is barely given anything to do, and it's all made worse by how the direction has zero style. There is a chase scene where our heroes are on bicycles fleeing from bad guy cars in a crowded city, and the enemies have to keep teleporting a few blocks back in between shots because the director could not figure out how to make this chase work. And then we're meant to feel sad for the brutal drug dealer who's been the main villain for most of the film until the ending. I got nothing else to say, man. Apart from Orlando Bloom giving it his all to warm up for his career resurgence, this was a nothing movie. Go watch Heads of State with Idris Elba and John Cena. Not everything that Amazon puts out is pure garbage. Number 5, A Working Man. This movie's almost as forgettable as Deep Cover because if Jason Statham isn't fighting a giant shark or doing something batshit insane, his movies just kind of blend together at this point. Stop me if you've heard this one. A mild-mannered working man is trying to lay low and live a normal life, but when a young woman needs help with some bad guys, he turns out to secretly be a retired covert military badass who single-handedly fights a huge crime ring. The only thing that sets Working Man apart is that it has something like a dozen villains to where the plot is near incomprehensible. I don't remember the last time a movie's villains shot each other because even the characters can't keep track of who's on their side. And it's all made worse by how the film just snaps from scene to scene with no transitions or breathing room, like David Ayer was in a competition to cut the film as short as possible. No joke, the thing I remember most about this movie is a shot where a car is driving with the moon behind them, and the moon's about 10 times its normal size, like this was secretly a crossover with Moonfall. Still, Jason Statham's a fun leading man and he's beating up human traffickers, the actual worst people alive. There's some primordial satisfaction to be had there, which is why he does so many of these damn movies. Number 4, Good Fortune. This is only number 4 on the list, but it's easily the movie I hated the most this year. Good Fortune is a comedy where broke loser Aziz Ansari and rich guru Seth Rogen trade lives, only I detest calling this a comedy because almost all the jokes are, hey, isn't it funny how poor people work 3 jobs to still not have any money and be broken, miserable, and homeless all the time? Isn't it funny how sad poor people are? There is a scene where a family has to have a dog put down because veterinarian bills are too expensive, and you're supposed to laugh at how funny it is that these innocent people can't afford health care. The full context is that an angel was trying to show Ansari how great his future will be, but the entire movie is that tone deaf. Aziz Ansari, a multi-millionaire, is not only the lead star, but also the director, producer, and only credited writer for this dreck. The man may actually be psychotic. Ansari's character is supposed to learn that poor people still have plenty to live for, but the man's written himself as a raging moronic douche who chases only the worst jobs imaginable and blew the chance of a lifetime by being stupid. His moral should have been, stop being a self-sabotaging tool bag. And when it comes time for the movie's theme of poor people should still appreciate what they have, this cynical-ass dumpster fire can't even come out and say that, instead advocating for a mass worker uprising because this movie can't even pretend to believe its own message. And sorry can't even write the simple archetypal prince and the pauper story correctly because the rich guy who loses everything is supposed to be humbled. But Seth Rogen's character was already humble, so the actual talented comic actor has nothing to do other than react to our punchable hero screwing him over. The only reason this has positive reviews is Keanu Reeves, who plays a naive angel that has to live among humans while not understanding anything about them, and Reeves knocks it out of the park. If you ask someone who loves this movie to name one thing they liked without mentioning Keanu Reeves, the blue screen of death would print across their face, and Reeves is arguably a supporting role. This movie's an abomination, and I hope Keanu Reeves recovers from the back pain from carrying this entire movie. Number 3, Love Hurts. Okay, stop me if you've heard this one before. A mild-mannered working man is trying to lay low and live a quiet life, but when a young woman needs help with some bad guys, he turns out to secretly be a retired badass assassin who single-handedly fights a huge crime ring. There probably was a point in time when Love Hurts was a passable action comedy. This is Ke Huy Quan's big follow-up to Everything Everywhere All at Once, and the dude is immensely talented. But then some executive OD'd on crack and shouted, "This kung fu flick should be a Valentine's Day movie!" And so they hacked the movie to death, editing in romance plots that have nothing to do with anything. Ke Huy Quan and Ariana DeVos' characters actively hate one another, and yet awkward voiceovers keep insisting that they're madly in love. The henchmen have a subplot going where one's trying to get back with his girlfriend, and the lead minion is also a poet who falls in love with Ke Huy Quan's lovelorn co-worker. And then, to top it all off, Ke Huy Quan's brother is running the evil gang, and I don't think that actually comes into play a single time. It was probably added in post to fuel this vague love theme. On a basic level, though, a major problem is that Ariana DeVos' character is hideously unlikable. We have no reason to care what happens to her, and yet her whims singularly drive the entirety of the plot. This whole movie's a confused train wreck only worth watching for Ke Huy Quan, whom I hope bounces back from this travesty. Number 2, in more ways than one, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. There's a line between making a movie for the fans and making a movie where you need to know the game lore inside and out just for parts of it to make sense. Oh, the marionette can possess people as a reference to Ennard. Okay, why is the marionette also Ennard? The film doesn't have a story so much as it has 3 or 4 loose plot threads that take forever to play out. The characters are pure ciphers who only exist to shuffle around plot points. It takes at least an hour to set up the horror premise, and the payoff to all that setup is a single off-screen death, while the rest of the horror mascots just shuffle around doing nothing for about 10 minutes. And then there's no climax. I would have given this movie a pass if it just delivered on some animatronic mayhem, and they couldn't even do that. Probably because the practical effects are too fragile for solid kills. Fans have admitted in my clipless review, please go check that out if you haven't, that they still love the movie just to get that charge off of seeing the video game characters on screen. I beg you, get some higher standards, because there are 17 animatronics in this film. Shadow Bonnie apparently has a cameo that I missed, and only 3 of them actually do something. And then all the disparate plots just form a car crash at the end when a character who's shown up once suddenly tries to claim that he's actually the main villain, only to be dispatched as barely an inconvenience. And then they utterly violate all the themes of the series while the characters turn into morons because multiple things needed to happen to set up a 3rd movie. Someone please kick Scott Cawthon out of the writer's room for Five Nights at Freddy's 3. It's not because of his political baggage, it's because the dude cannot write Freddy's anymore. And the number 1 worst movie that I saw in 2025, say it with me now, War of the Worlds. Yes, roundly hailed as the unrivaled worst movie that came out this year. If you haven't seen this glorious train wreck, it really is a spectacle of shit. The entire film takes place on the desktop screen of Ice Cube, who plays an NSA agent that uses government tools to spy on his kids and manage their entire lives. And just about when you go, wait, are we supposed to like this guy? Aliens drop from the sky. And what makes this movie an utterly hilarious joy to watch is that it doesn't understand anything about how anything works. Here are a few actual things that happen in this movie. FBI agents execute a raid on a notorious criminal wearing Temu prop bulletproof vests and jeans. And one of the agents is holding up her smartphone camera because this FBI can't afford body cams. It turns out that the aliens are here to eat our data, which the movie has no idea what that means. One minute they're devouring the entire internet and everyone's YouTube and Facebook pages die and all vehicles are useless. The next minute, a drone is piloting through the city, and a viral YouTube video is a key plot point. The chief of staff spends the entire movie blatantly being filmed on a golf course. Every street everywhere is abandoned in mid-invasion and ongoing apocalypse. Ice Cube's been hunting a notorious super hacker for years while sitting on a program that could have descrambled his voice at any time. Ice Cube hacks a Tesla for remote piloting to get his daughter to a hospital. Then he hacks the Tesla to have more battery life, and it takes so long for this Tesla to drive 2 blocks in perfectly abandoned streets that Ice Cube has time to watch a multitude of global military operations begin and end before it travels 2 blocks. It's just nonstop with how jaw-droppingly stupid this movie is. And Ice Cube is so out of his depth trying to carry the film that his endless reaction shots became overnight memes. And the product placement, good God, the product placement. Space Jam 2 has met its match. This was made by Amazon and is streaming on Amazon Prime, and Amazon is integral to saving the planet and defeating the aliens, all thanks to its delivery drones, abundant supplies, and bribing people with Amazon gift cards. I am not even kidding. And Amazon shopping carts are repeatedly held up as the gold standard for people's personal information because, in case you didn't know, this alien invasion movie is actually about online privacy. You can tell this film was shot while everyone was in lockdown due to the pandemic, so this has to have sat on a shelf for about 5 years at this point. Why did this release in 2025? Why now? The grand mystery to pile on top of this baffling movie that is hands down the worst of 2025.